welcome back to the Nethercast. I am Black Cyborg, as always, joined by temporary username Razor's Edge and Shadaloo. How are you guys? This is episode 45, 1 year exactly from the day that MKX has come out. It's crazy to think that it's already been a year. Where does the time go? This is ridiculous.
It only took us
a year?
A little under 365 days to get a robot in the game. How about that?
Yep, there you go. All right, so this is going to be a retrospective. So we're going to cover basically, retrospective, whatever. It's just going to be our thoughts on MKX, kind of put the nail in the coffin on that. It's just 1 year. So, we had all our thoughts after the game came out, right when we first played it, and then, the months leading after. Here is 1 year looking back on the game, its current state, everything that's happened, all the DLC that's come out, everything. What do we think about this game? So on and so forth. So, what is it?
It's very good.
Everyone at once. Good. Do everyone at once.
I like it a great deal.
All right,
it's good. La 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 blah.
It's fun.
Rabble.
Excellent. Outstanding.
It's okay.
Superb.
Not do everyone at once.
Crispy.
It's a novel idea.
Let's all be whores.
Excellent.
Let's take on all comers.
Ew.
That sounds like a lot of work. That sounds exhausting.
I'm really tired. It's kind of late.
Can't you just take on me?
I've got a headache.
Take on me. Take me on.
I gotta do my hair.
I'll be gone. Ta-da, ta-da.
Okay. So
we just talk about AHA for an hour instead.
Yep, let's do it. All right,
oh God.
hijacked.
Black
and
and
here
white
we go.
people are moving 2 frames per second at me. Oh Jesus, he's got a wrench.
Chris, where were you? I don't know.
Memories.
All right, so thoughts. Game.
Hunting High and Low is a very underrated album. I think it's aged very well.
Are you leaving your words behind, Shadaloo?
MKX. Yes, I am.
Nice.
Gotta stay on these roads. No, I don't hate it as much as I thought I was gonna at the very start of this whole thing. I hate it a little bit, but not very much, which surprises me. I would do things differently. I would not have any guest characters. I would maybe tone down the variation system a little bit, or I'd differentiate the variations a little bit more in some cases. I wouldn't change the story all that much. I like the story mostly for the way it was. I would add a real sub-boss, and not just throw Goro in there because, hey, Goro.
Well, you could just simply give Goro a story.
Yes. I find it really funny that this whole thing, in essence, is kind of a retelling of MK4 plus a couple extras. And Goro kind of wound up in the same place he was in the original MK4. There for no discernible real reason.
At least in MK4 he had that whole thing with Kung Lao in the ending.
Yes, he did, and that was good. And I was really hoping for them to expand on Goro's role around this portion of the time frame. And he was just kind of there.
He's always just kind of there.
I'm looking forward to the future. I like that Liu Kang has Shinnok's severed head, and he and Kitana are bad people now, thoroughly, and what they might do with that severed head is up to debate or interpretation. I like that Jade keeps on making mysterious cameo appearances in people's endings. I like the implication that the old timeline may not be as gone as we thought.
I'll like it more if it actually goes somewhere in the sequels.
Yeah,
Like, I'm really worried that's just going to be a thing they keep doing for the next 3 games, and then it never actually pays off. Jade is never in game, but she's always in one ending.
If it's done as a string-along tactic, fuck that shit, I'm out. Nah, who am I kidding? I can never truly be out. This is MK.
Well, I thought that's what they were going to do with this game. I thought, long before they revealed anything about the story, I really thought this game was just going to be like the first 20 minutes of story were just going to be like the Shinnok MK4 battle. And then the whole game was going to be surrounded around Kotal Khan and the Outworld Throne. I really thought they were going to put a Tatooine Return of the Jedi situation with Shinnok. And the beginning of the game is just MK4, and then they move on to their own story. I was really surprised when the whole game was basically just a bizarro MK4 when you really get down to it.
I sort of predicted Shinnok coming back at the end because he's sort of like. At least I hoped that's the way it would go because I didn't see Kotal as the boss type of character, and I don't see Shinnok as the kind of guy you waste. Like he deserved his time because it hadn't come yet.
This was Shinnok's game, and a very good game it was for him too.
And like I can only hope that one day Onaga gets that respect too. Because I still think of him as like the next guy in line. Like there are, to me, 3 bosses in Mortal Kombat: Shao Kahn, Shinnok, and Onaga. And when's he gonna get his turn?
I thought Onaga got a pretty good showing in Deception. He just needed to be in a better quality.
Yeah, like I liked him in Deception, but it's like people shit on him, and I don't know why. Like,
or do I? I thought he was pretty good. He just wasn't a very.
Like, is this thing people regret because they regret the 3D era in general, and like he doesn't deserve that. He's a good fucking character.
He just needed to be in a better fighting game and actually pose more of a credible challenge and not rely on a kind of ring around the rosy beat the kami doggies get up gimmick. You know?
Yeah, that was a little silly.
Make him feel more like a traditional MK boss, and you'll have a winner right there.
I just feel like if we fought Onaga again, is Cassie going to be the main character? Are we going to center in around the Special Forces again?
I would hope that, like, I liked Cassie as the main character. Like, I like her as sort of the standard bearer for her generation and everything. But you don't want her to become like Liu was in MK1 through 4, where it's the same hero every time. And you also sort of don't want to become so focused on these new kitty characters that you forget about the people that people like more. Like, I would want a game where Scorpion and Sub-Zero for once fucking beat the boss.
I was actually about to say that very thing. Just fuck it and make the ninjas the actual protagonists, like they've always really kind of been, in secret.
I agree with that. I strongly agree with that.
Rather them than Raiden.
Well, Raiden's an asshole now, so that'd be hard anyway.
Raiden is
better an asshole than a dipshit.
Advice givers.
Yeah.
I don't want him stealing the spotlight from actual mortals in Mortal Kombat.
Well,
like, it bothered me that he basically stole Liu Kang's spot in MK9. That's
he
narratively fucked up. He's the mentor character.
Well, it's unambiguous too. Raiden is undoubtedly the main character of MK9. It's his story very much. So now that he's a villain, and he's a villain, like undoubtedly a villain. At one part of me feels like Onaga's more possible now that we have Dark Raiden in the mix. Another part of me is like, well, with all this shit going on with Liu Kang Katana ruling hell.
Yeah, there are so many plots now. Like, Onaga's probably not the way to go for the next game, but maybe the game after.
That's like 8 years from now, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, maybe Reptile was the most suitable host for his soul. But who's to say that Liu Kang won't become corrupted enough for some magical shit that he won't become the next host? Maybe we'll get Liu Naga or something.
Like 40 episodes ago of what if Shujinko is possessed by Onaga this time?
I'm just saying, Liu morphs into a dragon. Onaga's the Dragon King. There's a tedious connection. There's a very hair-thin connection there that I could see them exploiting.
I could see it, but I just want Liu Kang to be Liu Kang again. Like, I'm tired of the different takes on Liu just because, like, people were bored with the original. Like, I wasn't bored with the original.
It was just really funny that they...
Bruce Lee back.
For a lot of people, they only made him interesting in MK9. Then he gets his... Well, got scarred, got burned.
Well, those people didn't really get to know him, is the thing. Like, I don't know that a lot of people ever really bothered to look into what his story actually was, other than the guy who wins the tournament. But we've talked about that like 1,000 times.
MKX. I like them fatalities. Them fatalities were next level shit. Brutalities brutalities were the best thing to happen to this to this series finishers probably since MK2.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, like if I were to think about MKX like in terms of the legacy it will leave behind and how it will be remembered and affect future games, I would hope 2 things. One, that brutalities become a standard the way X-rays have. And 2, this game has the most decent new characters, I think, since MK3. And I say that as someone who really liked a lot of like MK4 and Deadly Alliance characters. I'm talking about like the general public perception. Like I think Kotal Khan and most of his team are going to be remembered as like good new additions, and we'll see them again in future games a lot more than like characters from the 3D era didn't have a lot of repeat appearances and are considered forgettable.
I would agree with that. I just say MK4 because I loved everyone in that game, barring Jared.
Yeah, like I want more Fujin and Reiko and Kai. Like I like those guys, but I realize I'm in a minority on that opinion.
Well,
But
that's
I
a good
think
segue, though. I like because
lot
the
of-
roster. Do we like the roster now? Are we over the roster complaints? Is it better? Is it worse?
The roster is better. The new characters are, for the most part, very wonderful. I think
would
that some of them
say
could have been
that
maybe be written a bit stronger, but I have no
I'm-
real complaints.
I was never completely dissatisfied with the roster like a lot of people were, but I do think like the additions of Tanya and Boraicho and Triborg fix a lot of problems, especially Triborg. Like that was the big one, and all of a sudden here's 3 characters in one.
I may be the dissenting voice here. I'm still not. It's not even just the new characters. I still feel like 8 new characters was too many. I still am really. I guess one thing that kind of fermented over the year was just the idea that characters got roster spots who were technically not even really in the game. Like, in retrospect, I would not have given Liu Kang a spot. I probably would not have given Katana a spot, even though she had a great showing. I think she was a fantastic character. I don't know. I guess it's unfair because they were important to the story.
Well, on that
But-
subject, like I sort of feel like there's almost 2 stories to the roster of MKX. And one of them is who's relevant to the actual story mode we got, and the other is sort of this potential unrealized giant crossover idea that the Revenant's primaries represent. Where like, okay, Liu Kang and Katana and Kung Lao and them weren't actually all that important in the actual story mode, but there's almost this imaginary story mode going on in their intros of what if those guys hadn't died if a bunch of people jumped over from the old timeline. And I like that idea.
I think even then, I still am not crazy about it. The roster feels very safe and sterile to me, even with the new characters. To be honest with you, I think I'm officially done being that horse. For a long time, I wasn't done being that horse. I think I'm now officially in the I'm over it kind of phase. I don't want to see this trend. I guess is what I'm saying. I don't want to see a safe roster all the way up till 2020. Yeah.
I agree with you actually on that point. I think that this should probably be the last game for the foreseeable future for a couple of characters. I could go a couple of games probably without Sonya or Johnny. Geez, I mean, I think I'm actually kind of ready for their kids to take their roles. Jax is another one. I don't feel like we need like 2 separate generations coming back. I know that we're used to having a lot of those guys, but I would willingly take Nightwolf and Sindel back and Cabal and a lot of other people, plus a whole bunch of new faces, and not to mention the MK4 guys.
Man, fucking
Of the-
this game made
of
me.
the-
Yeah.
Of the original 7 next time, I would honestly hope to maybe see Shang Tsung, Liu, Raiden, Scorpion Sub-Zero. Yes, I included Shang in the original 7. Jesus, what am I doing? No, you know what I mean.
Well, if
Yeah,
you say
I do.
original 10, as in like all the ones
Yeah,
who
there you
appeared.
go. Sorry, been a long day. But yeah, the ninjas, Raiden, Shang. I might be pretty good with that actually, and Liu. Yeah, that'll be about it.
I would keep Cage. I think Cage should be in every MK game, but it's purely for gameplay purposes. From a story, I could do without him, but I like that gameplay philosophy a
I would
lot.
be sort of bummed to see Johnny go, but at the same time, he and Cassie fight so similarly, like, just in terms of gameplay, and I would be okay with no Johnny. I'm totally down with no Sonya or Kano. I'm okay with no Jax if you make Jackie more interesting. I actually think of all the new characters, Jackie is the one who deserves to not return the most.
I don't agree with the first part about Cassie and Johnny Cage being similar. They still I still feel like they function very differently. I just don't
do,
like
but at
Cassie
the
from a
same
gameplay
time,
perspective. Yeah.
there are all the good things about Johnny can be found in Cassie. They're in different places. Like she has a nut punch, she has a shadow kick, but it's part of a combo of normals. She doesn't throw the balls, but she does have a projectile. It's it's she plays like her own character, but if you left Johnny out, you could still find the things you like about Johnny in her moveset.
Well, I mean, there's a bias. I obviously don't like the character, but I feel like Cassie doesn't really make sense. Like, Cassie is a Rushdown character, but she's got ridiculous zoning. She has good mix-ups, but she gets away with a lot of shit for free. Well, I feel like Johnny has to work for his Rushdown. I feel like if Cassie does come back, we need to rebuild that character from the ground up, and they will. Like, this may be the first game where I'm actually hoping they reinvent the wheel. Like, for MK9 to MKX, I was like, please just stick with the engine. Don't and
I don't
some
know. I
good
mean,
came
like
out of it, but
I look at when new characters come back, the ones who shouldn't have kept the same moves still seem to do so. Like Tanya still has a bunch of garbage from Deception. Bo Raicho still throws up. Like they
yeah.
don't seem to be interested in reimagining anybody's moves when they bring them back. They just keep the same shit, which makes me really, really worried about if we ever see Serena again.
Knives. Knives everywhere.
Yeah, like I want a Serena whose potential is realized in terms of like transforming into a demon, not fucking Kano in pink and black.
Yeah, just
If
I don't know. Like, yeah, go on.
If I actually had to narrow it down a little bit, I would remove Takeda out of all four of them. I wouldn't want him back. I would gladly take the other
like
three,
the
but
Omega Red Rips. I think those are cool.
I think the whips are nice. It's not those that I dislike. It's the general concept of him as a character. He feels just kind of slapped together. I don't know. I feel like if it weren't for his
together than Jin or Jackie, honestly, like I think Takeda kind of makes sense.
The laser swords, the whips.
Well, I would drop some of his variation crap. I mean, that's just because variations exist. A lot of characters, you have to come up with like 1,000 moves for them, so you're throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. There's no reason for Takeda to have laser swords or
the
like
adamantium skeleton, the skull mask. He feels like someone slapped a bunch of X-Men characters together from the 90s on paper and called it a day. If it weren't for his role as part of the Shira Ryu, I wouldn't miss him in the least.
If all he was his alternate costume and one of his variations,
I think he'd be a lot more solid and focused as a character, yeah.
Yeah.
But as it is, if I had to get rid of one person, it's probably him. I feel like Jackie needs to be redeemed more than left behind, because I see the potential there.
I'm going to be the dissenting voice here again. I think Takeda is the only one I would bring back of the children, to be honest with you.
My God, man.
I think people kind of gave Takeda a bad rap because everyone used Shira Ryu, but really Ronin is where it's at. That's again, this is gameplay stuff. I'm not even talking about story. Just the idea of a placeholder in the ground that you can use for offense when you need to control space, I think is super interesting. And the Omega Red stuff gelled a lot better in that variation than it did in Shira.
Hello?
Did he died?
He died.
All right,
he was so excited about that Shira Ryu variation.
He lived as he lived.
This should teach him to complain about.
Goes.
This should teach him to complain about anything that's not Bujutsu, because fuck Bujutsu. Bujutsu is bullshit.
No, but
Get rid of
there's
that fucking staff next time.
My thoughts on the roster that we got in MKX. I would take about 5 people out. I mean, overall, I'm just meh on the roster. I don't think it's the worst roster ever. I don't think it's the best roster ever. I'm pretty middle of the road on it. If you removed 5 of them and put 5 people that I thought would benefit more, like your Fujin, your Havoc, maybe another one from MK3, and then maybe, like I said, just another couple characters that people were really wanting to see again, like a Noob Zybot, and then one more from the 3D era. I don't know. I just feel like that would be more interesting than, say, take out Jax, take out Sonya, take out Jackie. I would take out Ferritor, not because I don't like Ferritor the character. I think Ferritor could have been a great background character that we get in the next game, but build Ferritor up in this game. But when you have Ferritor in this game, I was excited for the character possibilities, and then actually in the story they served a very non-important role. They were just a thug.
Ferritor would have benefited from, if there was, again, it's the sub-boss thing, like how Goro should have had an actual story role. Instead of Goro, if that had been Ferritor...
Exactly. People would have been so much more welcoming to them with open arms. They'd look like a sub-boss.
Yeah.
It's Noob Smoke, but done right and not fucking with people's shit.
And Kano.
My shit specifically.
That'd be my 5. That'd be my 5. Sonya, Jax, Jackie, Ferritor, and Kano. I think we could have done without all of them. And it's not because I like Kano as a character. I like several of those characters. It's just I don't think we needed them all here. We didn't need Jax. We didn't need Sonya. We didn't need all 4 of the children playable right off the bat. You could have had one at least wait till the next game. Ferritor, like I said, I would love Ferritor more, but just didn't matter as a character in the story at all, so that could have waited. Obviously the guest characters I'm excluding from this because I would take, I wouldn't have the Leatherface or Alien in there. I would only have 2 at max at the very
Honestly,
most.
I think you could fix the combat kids solely by replacing Jackie with Frost. I think that would do a lot for the story.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but then people accuse you of whitewashing the game, so...
Yeah, you can leave Jax in as a revenant or whatever. He didn't have to come back and have a kid. He can still be in the game. And
I think Jax needs to go away because I'm tired of Jax. I think everyone's tired of Jax.
I love Jax's moves, though. I don't want to lose his moveset.
Give him to Jackie. No one will care.
Well, yeah, if you have to have Jackie, you can just give her all of Jax's moves. Fine, whatever.
That's what they did with Cassie. People don't seem to mind that much, or give her variations on them.
The main reason I don't like Jackie is because her power is gauntlets. I've said 1,000 times, I think she should have lost her legs, got cyber legs, and been the super speed character. That would have.
I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. She should have lost her legs in Nam.
Maybe, I don't know. Give her give her more of an actual focus on judo. Jax is a grappler and a wrestler. Give her leg holds and takedowns. Make Scorpion Slide look like Amateur Hour. That's what I'm saying.
Hurricane Rana's the character.
Precisely. El Fuerte, but not embarrassing to look at.
In every movie.
But yeah, if you get rid of some of the special forces, if you get rid of Jax and Sonya, that helps clear that up so they're not such a dominant faction here. Like I said, get some more representation. At least 2 more 3D era characters. Get Fujin, get Frost, get, maybe one Havoc, and then, like I said, another MK3 character. It's just, I think they could have had more variety and balanced it out a little bit more. Had a little bit less new characters. I mean, I'm with you guys. I like the new characters that they implemented. I definitely see a lot of potential in a lot of them to come back, but I don't think we needed 8 in this game. I think we could have settled for 5 or 6 and had a couple background characters that you could implement in the next game. So someone like I said, Ferritor could have been an interesting character as a thug for the army, not playable, so they're not just getting their ass kicked in story mode, which needs to change, as I've said before. It needs to not be the way it's structured the way it is. And then you can have Ferritor in the next game, so that way you build up that fan demand. We didn't need 8 new characters playable here, as well as 6 special forces people, 4 kids spawned from the previous gen. It felt very overkill in what it was trying to do, rather than the power of subtlety to just kind of implement a little bit of pepper and spice here.
I wouldn't say no to something Farah if they want to actually make her ending kind of canon and have the Tor part die off.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like that would just be sort of weird and redundant. Like, you already have Ferrator, just stick with it for a while. Don't immediately like have the same character, except now Farah's the big dumb one, and there's a new thing riding its back. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like tossing out there. Honestly,
maybe,
I think
in a couple games from now, if
Yeah.
as long as Ferrator keeps coming back, then you can do the change, and it'll be interesting progression. But we've only had Ferrator for one game. I think it's a little early.
And I agree with that actually. I think
But-
it's like because Farah to me is kind of a riot and one of the funnier things about the game. I find her adorable and hilarious.
Yeah, I
So,
like
like,
the
if you take
character.
her-
Yeah.
If you take her ending and you make it so that like she's one of the few parts of her species that actually knows that she's destined to like get really dumb and be used as muscle. How about she goes, well, no, maybe Shao Kahn can like keep me from dying or whatever. Or yes, I'm used to the whole Shao Kahn being the MacGuffin with his magic powers angle, but it's also not a fucking amulet. Actually, give her a reason to run around and give her some motivation. I'd like to see that.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
just saying
I
you
agree
could
with
like
that.
expand
I-
on the whole
Like, again, I think
writer thing.
that character in this game would have been 100% fine if all you did was make them the sub boss.
Yep.
Like, the only new character who I really feel is sacrificable on this roster is Jackie.
And we mean that in the literal sense. She is sacrificable.
I just mean that if you were going to subtract somebody to make room, or like if you wanted to have less new characters in general, the only one who I think, like, I like every single character and their role in the game except Jackie.
I think MK11 should be another go back in time story, but this time Raiden goes back in time and says he must wear a condom.
That's fucked up, dude.
Again, like,
He must not live. He must not live.
She must swallow.
And the entire roster is
Oh.
it's just like the parents of like the original 7. Which one? Which one is he talking about? Who should never be? But we all know.
So
it's
no
like-
one is born but Jackie. Jackie's the only one born. Everyone
yeah, see,
else
that's
is...
what Raiden would fucking do.
How do we feel about Tremor? Because I got to say this. I want to see him come. I want to.
You tried.
I think Tremor was.
Dude, look, I got it for you. You're trying. I'll say what you're trying to say. You're
They did a
saying he
good
should come.
The pen is blue.
How do you
No.
say that word?
I think if they don't.
I'll say
bring
it. I like
back-
Tremor. I think they did a good job with Tremor.
Thank you.
Nah.
I just couldn't. He should return because
Like,
they
I was
did
never
a good
opposed to him
job.
in the first place, though. So
I'm sorry. I had to choke down a decade of hate to get those words out. But
well, no, I get
It
where
made
you're
him
coming
work.
from. Like, I was never one of those rabid guys who's like, we need all the ninja colors. He's the last one. Like, I don't
always-
care about that shit.
I always
just
hated
thought-
him because
a
of
guy,
that.
you
Because
know?
it was- he just had boneheads for fans who would just take him over any other fucking background character because he looked familiar. When there
Yeah,
were
like
already
this-
7 other dudes like him in the game, and they managed to once again break that stigma.
Yeah, like, I just saw, like, I knew his moves had the potential to be something creative and cool, and they realized that potential, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Fuck
And no, this
him.
does not mean that Chrome should show up, so shut up out there. We have enough X-Ninjas.
I'm also glad that there's at least more than one Black Dragon in the universe now who doesn't suck. Like,
Hey, dude.
how long did it fucking take
Cabal's
them to
feelings
make
are hurt.
something of that fucking clan?
Cabal's feelings are very hurt right now.
Hey,
He was
Cabal
technically part-
quit. He doesn't count. Cabal escaped the suckitude.
Whenever I think of the Black Dragon, I wedge Cabal in there just to make it look cooler. And you should.
I guess if you have to, yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they just gave him a personality fuck job in Deception. We need to make the Black Dragon credible. Who do people
Yeah, but
like?
that's the
Cabal?
problem. Like
Okay.
Cabal's only cool when he's not a black dragon.
Yeah, that is probably the worst story bio in MK history is Cabal Deception. That is the worst character assassination to date, in my opinion. Even worse than MK9 Raiden.
Although
That
you know
was
what?
bad.
When I was when I like recently, at least as recently until last month, when I'm like slowly putting my chronology together, there's some stuff in there that actually kind of makes me think that Havoc brainwashed the guy.
Yeah,
they were gonna get
it's a
around
little
to
bit
that.
in there. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of hinted. It's not outright stated, but that always was how it made sense in my head
Yeah.
too. That like Havoc basically indoctrinated him, and like that's why his personality is a complete 180.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like the Hawkeye thing from Avengers. You know, I see why he's doing it, but it doesn't make the character interesting to me, though. Because I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think it was the whole he came back changed kind of thing, but I don't know if that's fun. I don't know if the things I like about Cabal translate into that.
Well, like I still don't like Deception Cabal, but I like hate it less when I rationalize it as he's not himself. Havoc did shit.
It's like Noob Smoke. If it had some sort of closure, it would have been beautiful. Like if Cabal came to his senses and took down Havoc,
Yeah.
that would have been cool. Like Noob Smoke would have been a great storyline if it ended with Smoke coming back to his senses and him helping Sub-Zero to take down the new Brotherhood of the
Like,
Shadow.
if
That would have been
Smoke had his own story at all.
Yeah.
If
I
Smoke
think I would
had
have taken that.
thoughts. Smoke had
But
nothing.
no.
He was a drone.
Instead, it was just, okay, we're gonna go to hell. We're gonna make a bunch of cyber demons. Okay, we've made our cyber demon shadow ninjas. Let's attack my old brother's clan. Ha ha ha! Wait, who are you? Slap. Thanks,
Yeah.
stranger. Thank you, stranger, who was rifling through my base looking for stuff. Here's a suit of armor. Hey, where'd my
Taven
brother go?
basically jacked Smoke's storyline completely in Armageddon, and I know why they did. I'm not even anti-Taven, but yeah. What are we talking about?
Well, let's move
Oh,
on
yeah.
to some gameplay stuff.
MKX.
Yes, let's
yeah.
do that. I think the biggest problem I've had with MKX, when I first played the game, I thought it was amazing. It was like, wow, this is brilliant. The run button is great. The run button made footsies very interesting. I still prefer the mid-range game from MK9, but it made offensive strategies very interesting. But the downfall of the game is now that you have an interesting way of getting in, and you have all these like long-distance offensive options. Once you get in, the game is fucking brain dead. Everything is full of 50-50s and mix-ups, and it's, you know, I like the idea of having a run button, but you can get in so easily now if you play your footsies right. And when you get in, you know, it's a cash out. You just like for example, Cryomancer. If I get a jump in, a blocked jump in punch, I'm not thinking anymore. I'm like back 2 or back 3. What am I doing? Either way, I get a combo if I guess right. If I guess wrong, I could hypothetically be full combo punished. And that's as smart as MKX offense ever gets. They took out dash cancels, so the dash pressure is gone, which I loved about MK9. And a lot of your normals are grossly unsafe, so if you do anything that is not a mix-up or some sort of like armored special, you lose your turn. I do a poke, and unless I want to throw out meter, I am now at disadvantage. I just blew my whole offensive opportunity. So everyone's playing the game like it's the fucking lottery, and everyone's trying to put all their damage options the first, you know, block string they get, and that drives me nuts. Especially when we have the run button, which made offense so much more frenetic and so much more dangerous, you know. And then once you finally get that block string going, it's brain dead. That's what drives me nuts about MKX.
I would actually agree pretty much completely with that. Like, I still look back at MK9 and I feel like there was something more interesting about combat in that game, where like more strategic or something. Like, I don't know exactly what it is I'm trying to say, but I just know that I could win more often in MK9, and that means something to me in my heart.
No. I mean, just you felt
like,
like you had options, you know.
Because I didn't you guys, like at the highest level of play, it's pretty much just memorize the longest juggle you can, and then once I make a mistake, I'm floating in the air for 50% of damage, and then you do it again.
And it only happened because you played. Yeah.
that didn't ever really happen in MK9. Like, even when I was losing, I was still, it was competitive, and I was
The fuck
thinking
game were you
about
playing?
every move like a chess
I don't
game.
know, man.
Did you play his smoke where he just smoked you? Did you play the
You know what?
same
I
game
didn't
as
have
me?
that problem you had. Maybe it was the matchup. Maybe because you were
I
all
don't
like
know.
Tenchi and Cyrax, and
I've been schooled by some pretty bad smokes in my time, and that's all I remember was bouncy, bouncy, bouncy,
Yeah, I don't-
bouncy.
I remember I had Johnny Cage and I had Jax, and I was winning more than a third of the time.
Well, there was also Kung Lao, and trying to
I had
smoke
a
versus
good
Kung
Kung Lao.
Lao is it's hard to connect with Kung Lao because trying to fucking land a combo in Kung Lao is like trying to hit a fly with a coat hanger. It's very difficult. And honestly, like that probably is Smoke's bar none worst matchup. I think it's worse than Cabal probably. Um, but the thing is, once I got in an MK9, once I got that block string going, I had a myriad of options. Now, if I land a 40% combo on you, it's not because you fell for my offense. It's because you lost the dumbest game of rock, scissors, paper ever. It's not even rock, scissors, paper. It's just rock, paper. You have to choose one. You don't even have scissors. You just have to fucking choose. And if you're wrong, you get gone 35% of your life. And God forbid you ever get a block string on you again because you're going to have to make that same guess. And you, in theory, can punish back too. No one does it. No one has ever punished my overhead, like outside of a throw or a poke. That is it. No one has blown up that overhead. I've never seen it.
I think the thing though is that we all had a lot more fun than the usual experience with MK9 because none of us are Cabal players.
I was a Cabal
Thank
player.
God.
And I think, well, like the balance in MKX is a lot more like even, and I mean it is like a really good game. Like it's a million times better than Injustice, which was my biggest fear before it came out. Because I
It's
really
almost
don't
like an
like
inversion.
Injustice at all.
I like Injustice. It's almost like they took all the problems from Injustice and put it on the other side of the seesaw. That's what I feel like MKX is.
I'm sitting here and I'm on the topic of the run button, or rather the run mechanism as we call it, because it's just double tap forward block.
Yeah.
I'm still living back in like 1997, 98 to 2000, where everyone's like, lol, run button are so stupid. Who has a button for running? You should be double tapping. And that exact mechanism's now, and we're all calling it run, and everyone's just kissing its ass. And I'm kind of loving that. As long as it's just not a button of its own. But again, it kind of sort of is.
In an age when controllers have more than 8 buttons, I don't think it's something to be like worried about anymore.
I never hated it back
on
in the
fucking
day.
Controller, like
It was just holding a button and pressing forward. I never understood the vitriol that run used to get back in the old days. And now everyone likes
because
it.
it's not
Cool.
Street Fighter. Anything that's not the way they do it in Street Fighter. Like people still bitch about not holding
Yeah.
back the block. Like who
Well,
the fuck are you?
Those people,
This is a different game.
those people can juggle several dicks in their mouths at once.
I'd like
All
to
of
see
the
it.
dicks. In a counterclockwise fashion, I might add. Counterclockwise.
That sounds
Face-
painful.
Facing the ceiling. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. I ain't got much to say mechanism-wise other than MKX feels a lot tighter to play than MK9 did. They went a long way in making it more maneuverable, much more fast-paced, and it feels like a much more, I don't want to say much more fun, but it's a tighter game. It feels more frenetic, more crazy-paced.
Right, yeah.
It certainly
Well,
is. I'd
hanging
agree with
back.
that.
feels faster, feels smoother, definitely.
I think a lot of my displeasure with what I am displeased about is just that I miss my old mains. As much as I like the mains I have now, I still regret that I can no longer, be good with Johnny Cage or Jax. Because it was a lot of fun back in the day.
I kind of want move continuity,
Yeah.
I'm tired of all these input changes, left, right, and center.
Yeah, like that's why I'm not good with Jax anymore, is almost entirely because, like, a bunch of his shit is different, especially the fucking multi-slam.
Yeah, Kenshi got pretty screwed by that too. His
And
thing
Kenshi
where
remains screwed, so-
his thing coming down from the down from the air to that's the overhead. That
You
thing
mean
sucks
the
in
thing that I
MKX.
hated more than life itself.
Yes. And that thing was
The thing
awesome
that
in
made it fucking
MK9.
broken.
Right, that's the thing that was awesome in MK9, but in MKX, it's just that move sucks to use. That move really sucks.
And as
There's a lot of
a
fun.
smoke player, I've never known continuity at all. So all these changes to variations on top of, like, to special move inputs on top of it, don't make it easier for me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that Triborg smoke teleports from up down onto you.
Well, that was the
happened?
last
I mean,
hit of a
it just-
DX from the last one, you see.
It was, yes, but I thought the point was to make him into MK3 smoke again. So I was expecting a tele uppercut, but they kept that for Sector. So they gave him a variation on it, which I approve of for the sake of individuality. And oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. The point is, as a smoke player, I'll never know continuity. No two moves will ever stay the same. I guess I have to
But this
accept
is
that.
the closest it's come, him still kind of being MK9-ish.
Yeah, I guess, sort of.
I will say
I
this:
don't know.
Katana. I've had the most fun playing Katana over any other character in any other fighting game, so that's fun.
Oh, Katana in this game is wonderful.
To be
So is
fair, I
Melina.
never really took the time to learn any characters
Yeah,
in any other
you are
fighting game.
you are better at this game than you've been in any other fighting game.
Best
So-
Melina ever. I'll say that right now. Melina is so good in this game.
I agree. Actually, she's like my third character. It's Sub, Shinnok, then Ethereal. And on that note, can we please get rid of down inputs for the next game? They're horrible, and I hate them. Doing down A for fucking telekick is just awful. It's so hard to do that shit on cancels. For me, like if other people are good at it, God bless them. I am not. It just on an arcade stick, it just feels so awkward to me.
I can see it on an arcade stick. I don't have any problem with it because I don't use a stick.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, shit.
Tapping's always been the name of the game in MK.
Man.
It's taken me so long to have to work around the fact that Scorpion's moves are now, rather than double tap back, it's back forward and punch.
Yeah, it's so weird that they change it every other game. Like it was back in the last one. Now it's back forward again.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I know why
if-
they
if-
did
if-
that, though.
If they turn Scorpion's Spear into like a down forward maneuver, I'm gonna rip someone's fucking throat out. I'm tired of that shit.
yeah. There's
I mean,
only.
I definitely agree, but yeah.
I was just gonna say there's only certain button inputs that really annoy the hell out of me, and that's like Liu Kang's bicycle kick being like forward, back, forward. I hate like forward, back. Anything with 3 fucking directions can go to hell.
They're slowly
I'm
turning
not
into
used to
MK4
the-
fatality inputs. Hold block, then up, down, and block and run
right,
together.
and then so
kinda
that
shit.
that annoys the hell out of me. Katana's down, back. The sweep button, the button to trip somebody. What is that? B or something?
4.
Yeah, 4.
Pretty fast.
Okay. So, because when I do, that's when I accidentally do the damn tornado spin to reflect a thing accidentally because I'm holding down because I'm ducking, and then I'm pressing back. So I duck really quick, and then I press back so I can get the hell out of dodge, and then I'm trying to I'm pressing back while pressing 4, but since I just pressed down to duck before that, then I'm instantly doing that move, and that really sucks. Because that just, completely opens up my legs for fuck city, so.
Combat zone.
I'm serious.
Fuck
Well, that
city.
move just leaves you completely open, so then I'm screwed. So that
Ah,
sucks. And I'm
jerk.
literally right in front of the person, so there's really nothing I could do about that. So that's one little... I mean, that's not like a specific button input, but I don't think you should be doing down, back, 4 for any of the activations, in my opinion, but that's me. I just don't see why we can't just make our own damn button combinations for our damn special moves, in my opinion. And what's that gonna hurt?
Nothing.
Okay,
Be
well,
very
there you
interesting.
go.
That would be odd.
That'd be very interesting to see
Like,
put in practice.
Yeah, just make... If I want the fan to be down forward 2 instead of down forward 1, why does that hurt anybody else? It's not like I'm changing anything for them.
It's 2016. If they can make Vega a charge character, not a charge character, if they can make Vega a motion character, they can do fucking anything that they want to do.
So, yeah.
I'm actually kind of
that's the thing.
surprised that this isn't a feature in all fighting games at this point. They should look into that.
Customizable macros.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I like things set in stone too, so it's the same for everybody. If I'm trying to teach you something, it makes it easier if we all have the same things to work with. And also, you get used to their movements. You can tell if they're doing like back forward, they're probably going to go for a, or take the teleport kick, for example. If I see you duck twice, it's probably a good indicator you're about to do that.
Honestly,
But
I just said that, and I realized how idiotic it actually is, because some characters like Guile are just sort of made to be charge characters.
Sure.
This is not something that I could just shit out there and
But
requires a lot of serious input.
But the plus side is, though, maybe I want 95% of them set in stone. I'm happy with that. But there's one that just like is a giant pain in the ass. Like Kenshi's like I said, the thing that comes down from the sky. How you do it in this game for some reason is like I can't remember the exact button input.
You have to hold back or hold down or hold forward or
you
something.
You
change the distance.
After you do the button combination, you press back to have it so it's close. You don't press anything to have it go down mid range, and then you hold forward to go, across the screen. It's like, what, in the middle of a combo, or when I'm
so
panicking during a
have moves
pressure
like that
game.
to track. And his used to track, and now it's like the only one in the game that doesn't track.
Well, that one didn't track.
Quan Chi's as well.
Sector's up missiles don't track, I don't think.
Well,
you have to maneuver those.
The thing is with Kenshi's thing, that thing from down from the sky didn't track before. It was 3 different button inputs. It was like down back would do close, down forward would do far, and then down forward back or whatever, which is a 3-button combo, so I don't like that. But that to me is easier to remember. 3 different combinations, just varying of the same button input, just pressing a different button at the end there, than having it be like, okay, you have to hold forward after pressing it. Like, that just fucks me up. I can't do that when I'm like trying to actually focus on not dying. Like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good way of implementing that.
I mean, like I said, I have to think about it, because my worry is NetherRealm or any other fighting game developer in the world may lead to problems, because right now, even with MKX, we had a big problem with option selects. Raiden had an option select where if he did his, I think his back 2 was his overhead, he could do an option select where it's fully punishable if you block it, but he had an option select where it wouldn't come out if he did the option select, and that means he has a safe 40% starter in the corner, and Raiden got you into the corner like nothing. Every character had a universal option select where if they did a down input, I think before or during their EX move, if the combo connected, they would do the EX move. If the combo did not connect when you blocked, then they would get, nothing would happen. They'd be completely safe and they'd keep their meter. So I'm worried if they program macros for special move inputs, you might run into a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it could
there's
break
all
the
this
game.
unforeseen, like a butterfly effect.
Okay, well
yeah,
then,
that's what happened to Street Fighter 4, basically.
the alternative then is don't have the custom, and I'm fine with that. Just don't put in stupid inputs. Like, who approves these types of inputs? No, I don't understand who feels comfortable with crap like that.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here and say I've never had much problem tapping with Nether. This is also though because I grew up kind of playing a lot of SNK games, and when you like to play Geese Howard, and your anti-air super is done by forward rolling to down back, then rolling forward again to down forward, then back, then going right back, and then pressing 3 punches. We call that the pretzel. That was an anti-air super cage. I'm just saying we don't have it all that bad.
Well, here's the
I had to
thing,
learn that stuff for 13. It's rough, man.
Too long, so
I
you're
wasn't
right.
good at it at all.
Or like Anna Karis, man. Darkstalker's Anna Karis. And it was, what was it? This aerial level 3 super viz that was like fierce punch, medium kick, jab punch, weak kick, medium punch, fierce kick, and then down?
Yeah, but what you're saying is like, hey, we may be drinking piss, but at least we're not eating shit. Like, I would rather just not do either.
She just described as basically a brutality command from Ultimate MK3.
Pretty well. And this was like a small, slow, level 3 fireball projectile, from what I remember. People have done dumber things, so I'm just saying. I don't have a
I don't
single
know. I
problem
was just
with
like
double
the
tapping.
only command, like I said, the only command that really bothers me in MKX is Jax's multi-slam, and it's not necessarily just because it's a 3-direction command move. Like I can do others like Ermac's telekinetic slam or Liu Kang's bicycle kick. I don't really have a problem pulling those off, but it's because Jax's after that, if you want to slam him more times, you have to do some pretzel bullshit. Just make it like it was in 9, where it's his throw, and if you want to keep throwing, you hold buttons down. Just do that. Why does it have to be complicated? Why does it have to be
Because
hard to do
they
the
did this-
most fun thing he can do?
They did this because they took a page out of Tekken's book, because that's how fucking king throws work, basically. And it's a terrible idea. All the same,
Yeah,
I
like-
think that they should make it if it's going to crank out the damage, they should make it a little bit more challenging to do, and not like MK2 or 3 where it was just mash high punch afterwards for like 35% of the guy's life bar off a single grab.
Well, I like the way the gotcha's done now, where it's just a couple punches, and then the EX is more punches. But
I love-
the multi-slam...
I love the fact that
It's
like
like-
depending which button you pressed for that EX, he'd slam you, he'd punch you in different places.
Yeah,
that was a great feature.
But like as far as the multi-slam, it's like you compared it to King and Tekken. The thing I hate most about Tekken is that King looks like so much fun, but you will never ever do the cool stuff.
This is very true. I only ever did that shit in practice mode.
Yeah.
And Tekken fans have it horrible right now. It's really bad. They're in a bad place at the moment. I hope it gets better for them. Yeah, but anyway, some of the stuff I get, like Scorpion having back forward instead of back punch, I get why they changed that, because if you do back, you go into a backdash, and dashes are not cancelable anymore. So it would be extremely fucking hard to do that move. I think all the backbacks are gone in general, as far as I know. They've all been changed to back forward, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's a horrible situation because I personally feel like MK9 is the better engine, but the top 5 are broken, and there's the input glitch and the player 1 advantage. MKX is a more balanced game, and it's overall the programming is much better. It's much more well programmed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But offense is boring in this game. Offense is not interesting, and if I connect a 40% combo, it's not because I played smarter than you, it's because I guessed right. You know, and they made anti-air so weak, so it's so fucking easy to get a jump-in punch or a cross-up punch. They made it so simple. So, I don't know. I felt like conversions were so much more cool in MK9. But you can't really go back to MK9 because the game it's so bugged, you know?
Yeah.
So I want
It
them to
would be nice
reinvent
if
the
there was
wheel.
some way to have the best of both worlds.
I'm hoping they go back to the pen and paper for the next game and just change up everything. And then there's variations, which I still am a fan of, but Paulo did not balance the game around variations. I'm not clear. Paulo doesn't really explain himself. Paulo doesn't say why he does the things he does. I don't know why Kano, who was already a really good character, is now bumped into the top 5, probably. I don't know why that happened.
Tyler
Maybe it happened just because Lansdowne's a Kano player.
Well, didn't he bail on Kano for Ermac?
Well, maybe he's like, hey, I want to play Kano, but he's not as good. Can you fix Kano for me?
Gotta get those stuck and fours in. I love Kano in this game. He's my secondary main.
I actually do like him a lot too. I think he's really interesting. I just didn't think that character needed any more better options. I thought he was already fine. I thought he was already a dominant footsie character. He had safe, high and low mix-ups in Cutthroat, and his damage was ridiculous. So I'm like, why did you buff this stupid fucking character? But
yeah, but I
it
think what
doesn't
you were
bother
getting
me
at,
too much, I guess.
like,
Yeah.
the issue with variations is that why do some characters have at least one that it's not worth using? Like, why is it even in the game if they're not even?
I think that there's only I'd say there's maybe 5 or 6 truly useless variations in this game. Most of them are okay.
Yeah,
I think
you as a Sub-Zero player are always complaining about Unbreakable and Cryomancer not being as good as Grandmaster.
Paulo could have been a good Paulo. Wow, it's a Freudian slip. So, Unbreakable could have been a good variation.
Paulo variation, make it happen.
It's on record now. Nothing you can do about it.
And like me as a Liu Kang player, there's no reason to ever touch Duelist.
Well, it's been buffed. I don't know how good it is now. I don't know what the changes did to Duelist, but
It's still not going to be worth it.
I think if you could do some true zoning with it, it might be, but I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think you'd have to take the red fireballs completely back to scratch to make that worth playing as.
See, I didn't even know there were red fireballs, so that shows.
Yeah. See, people only use half of Duelist because one of the halves is for setting up traps, but it's like worse than all the other trap setup variations in the game. Like, at least while Raiden's laying these little bolts that he can connect, he can do other stuff. If you're playing Liu and you're throwing the red and black fireballs, you're pretty much done for the rest of the match.
That's a shame, but I don't blame variations for that. I don't know what Paulo is thinking, and I wish he would tell us what he's thinking. I don't know why he does the things he does. People complain about Necromancer, Shinnok. I personally think that variation is fine. I mean, I get why people are frustrated. It's clearly the inferior of the three, but I think it's viable. I think Wound Cowboys does some really cool stuff with Necromancers, so I don't know. I don't blame variations for that. I like I play Cryo, and everyone else plays Grandmaster. So in a way, it benefits me the most. I have a Sub-Zero to myself that no one can take away from me, because people want to play Brain Dead Grandmaster, and that helps me out in a way. And in a way, that saved the game for me, because if it wasn't for Cryo Sub-Zero, I don't even know if I would have liked this game at all. I mean, I have Shinnok, but Shinnok is such a brain-dead asshole that it's not fun to play him.
I wish Katana didn't have Mournful. I know you like it, but I wish he didn't have it.
I love it. That's my favorite
I just don't...
You're gonna find someone to love if you don't find that one variation, the one character that you love.
Like, I like Assassin, I like Royal Storm, but this is kind of the whole, going back to the Triborg thing, it's like, I like playing Katana, I just wish she had one more option for me to choose from, and yes, Mournful is there, but it's like, I don't want to play Katana Jade. I want to just play Katana. I wish she had one more option that was just hers with some unique stuff, because to me that would intrigue me like hell, but it's like, I don't want to play Katana Jade. It's nothing against Jade, I just don't want to play Katana Jade. I want to play
I do
just
agree
Katana.
We shouldn't turn characters into variations. I'll agree with that much.
Like, that's another issue with the variation system that bothers me, is because everybody has to have three, you're, like, stealing from other characters. Like,
yeah, Johnny and Noob.
I'm in agreement with this
because the idea of Triborg. I'd like Triborg better if he had 3 bios and 3 endings, because he should be 3 guys. But because of the variation system, you can't have Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke in the same game. Because of the variation system, Katana and Jade aren't in this game together. It's just Katana using Jade's moves. And it's like, if they keep the variation system around, it might not always be the same characters that's happening to, but sometimes characters are going to be left out and their moves are going to become a variation for somebody else, because you have to think of new shit for everybody. And
I'll just point out that this is exactly why, if this trend continues, we will never see Kintaro ever again.
Yeah.
So fuck that shit. Bring me back
it's
Kintaro.
A problem.
Don't give me
I think
a
we can
bull.
kill the trend without killing variations.
What I would suggest, like, maybe variations could stick around, but just have 2 per character instead of 3. And then
I'd be
might
okay
make
with
it easier to balance.
Sure.
You know what this is basically? Basically, just make it into Samurai Showdown 3. That game had variations right like 20 fucking years ago.
Or just be more creative with the characters. I mean, like you said, Cyrax. Take Cyrax for example. It's simple, like
the exact number that guarantees some will suck. I feel like.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. I think 2 could definitely work and be just fine, and you can tighten things up even more and have more per variation. It's just, yeah, you would have it condensed to 2. But I guess my point was, I think having a character's like Jade's moves on Katana, I feel like you could make one more. I mean, they did that, in my opinion, I don't think they did that because they couldn't think of anything more for Katana. I think they did that because they wanted to please Jade fans to have, something in the game rather than absolutely nothing. Like, take Cyrex, for example. You could have a variation just based on a million different ways to use his bombs, or all his, a million different ways to use his nets, or one with just a different ways to use his buzzsaw. It's like you can create different moves on it. I just don't think they wanted to be creative enough to do something like take Reptile, for example. Before the game came out, I was saying let's have one that's just based on different ways to use his acid, different ways to use his tongue, and different ways to use his force balls. So I think they can be more creative. I just think sometimes they got lazy with certain characters, like Johnny with using Noob's moveset, and it's like, in my opinion, that was a mixture of laziness, and I think they just wanted to throw the peoples that didn't get their favorite character a bone to give them kind of like their moves. I mean, this goes back through history, though. They've always been lazy and shared moves throughout characters.
I mean, at the same time, I actually like Johnny's stunt double variation for him. Like, I think that's a cool new, like, evolution of his superpowers.
Sure.
Like, I like that idea for him, and I don't think that being in the game necessarily means Noob Saibot can't be in the same game.
But there are some characters, like Kintaro versus Noob Saibot. Who is more likely to show up if in like 6 given MK games?
Kintaro is the guy who suffers the most because Breathing Fire has already been stolen by other Shokan so many times anyway.
You're gonna get Noob Saibot back. It's gonna happen. He's, if not an A-list character, he's very clearly upper B. He's very popular.
But, like, at the same time, like, I would like to have a game where Noob Saibot comes back, but at the same time I want Johnny to keep the ability to send out shadow clones. Like, I actually think that should be, like, part of his storyline, the same way that the Possessed variation should be part of Kenshi's storyline, and maybe Mournful should have actually been part of Kitana's storyline. Like, I want to see when a character gets new powers or their moves change, I want it to connect to character development.
I mean, it's all, you guys pretty much said everything. I think the whole idea of taking other characters who are not in the game and incorporate them into variations is a solution that pleases no one. It's like if a child wants a puppy and you give him half a puppy, that half a puppy is not a puppy. It doesn't work.
God.
So that's what they did, basically.
And at the same time,
fans aren't going to use it, and Jade fans aren't going to care. So
you'll get half the puppy up front, and you get the other half when you're done with your chores.
Yeah.
Now I'm imagining Reiko with a variation called Half a Puppy, where he just beats you with half a puppy. Because Reiko would beat you with half a puppy that he ripped in half. Because he's an asshole like that. Reiko for president.
Well, you know what? This is all leading to Frankenweenie as a guest character. You realize that, right?
Still better than Alien. Still better than Alien.
Frankenweenie. Fights for the Brotherhood of Shadow.
Yeah, Reiko would have been cool in the game.
I would play the fuck out of a Tim Burton designed Mortal Kombat. I'll just get that out of the way right now, clearly.
Talking early 90s Burton, or are we talking about post 2000s Burton?
He had that once. It was called...
Only one of those things is a possibility. It is early 90s, thank you.
Clay Fighter.
Cyrex, you know you don't have to kill yourself. We have control over the robots. No, I must kill myself. I must take them with me. I'm still salty about it, damn it. I'm still salty.
Why, Cyrex? Why?
It's gonna be fine.
This was one of my fatalities. It is what I was meant to do. Beep, 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 beep. Actually,
Cyrex, we have control of them. They listen to you. They will fight for good. No, we're all abominations. I must take them all out.
It's okay, though, because Triborg cloned him and put a copy of his brain in the clone, so he's still around, I guess?
No, don't do this.
Dear Sean Kittleson, thank you for trying. It's not...
Thank you for trying with these characters that they don't care about, like Raiko. They actually got me excited for Raiko, and we still didn't get him.
I will say that for Sean's
I saw what he did with Shujinko, and I don't call that trying.
Fuck Shujinko.
Maybe tried harder with some characters than others.
Yeah,
he did a very good job.
Try harder with, like, Draman. Try harder with,
Well, Draman was a glorified cameo.
He tried hard with Suhao.
He was a cameo that died, man. Try harder with Movado.
He gave Suhao the treatment everyone wants Suhao to get. As far as I'm concerned, he did a good job with Suhao. He did right by Reiko.
He had to do it with 4 other guys.
Hey, that's supposed to stay behind closed doors.
Maybe try harder with Seamus. He was cool for a little bit there.
Seamus? What the fuck? I
Oh,
remember
yes.
that little scene. What the hell?
Was that like the redheaded buzz
Yeah.
cutter?
Yeah,
the
he was
angry
the
guy?
special
Yeah.
forces guy with the red hair.
The red shirt. There's always a red shirt. Well, he wrote a better Kotal Khan. Don't forget that.
Yeah, he
He
did
wrote Kotal
actually.
Khan so well that we were disappointed by what the game gave us.
Yeah.
So don't forget that. So I thank Sean for his interpretation of Kotal Khan, which was pretty goddamned awesome.
And he did use Jarek and Tasia.
Yes. Yes, he did. He used Tasia, and I can't thank him enough for that because no one will ever use Tasia ever again.
See, now I get so bummed thinking about what could have been on the roster. That's why I still just maintain it was pretty meh. What could have been?
I mean, I'm just
Dude,
kind
I
of
accept-
tired at this point of the
Like-
characters. Yeah,
I-
go on, yeah.
I accepted a long time ago that Tasia would probably never be, but they brought back Tremor.
Okay. Fuck Tremor. No, I'm just kidding. He's alright.
Characters he
Later.
used.
Because you
That's all I
can't
hope.
mess up that
But-
roster.
Dear God.
I'm not entirely pleased with the way he used them. Like, Havoc was just kind of a generic villain in that book for as much as he appeared.
Oh, don't get me started on
No, I
Havoc.
stopped reading by that point.
His Havoc was like them going, okay, listen, the fact
You guys alright?
about this guy, no plans to use at all, take him and do what you want with him. And I just wish I hadn't come to that.
We're getting to the point where people are cutting out and sounding like robots. Are you guys Triborg?
No, I'm an MK3 cyborg. I don't make speech.
Yeah, when is that gonna come back?
So this is the season finale of the Nethercast. On the next season, when the next season starts, you're not going to get Temp, Razor, or Shadowloo. You're going to get
Shadowzor?
Zur,
Tempest.
and it's not going to really be them. It's just going to be their
Raise a
DNA.
new temp.
all in one person.
And we'll
Shepazor.
just call it the TriCaster.
The TriCast. There you go.
Shadzer's temp.
And I'll be the
I'll
be the secret
Shadzer's your
fourth.
name.
I'll be the secret.
He'll have a secret
part of
Django
that.
variation.
Yeah, there you go.
Cyborg Shadzed your name.
I like Shepazor. I think that works.
5 Borg. Well,
Quadborg.
So, might as well. This is a good time to wrap up final opinions. Looking
I give
back.
MK.
I
give
like
MKX.
MKX overall. Like,
You give it an
I
X.
think it's a good game, and I would not like. I didn't like MK9. Like, I like the gameplay of MK9, and then everybody else can go fuck itself.
I give
but
the
I
game
like
a
MKX as a
half-eaten
total
grilled cheese sandwich.
I am pleased with MKX as a product overall.
The
Yeah,
game
that's
to
good.
me. The game to me revitalized finishing moves, had an exceptionally strong, new, and acceptable returning cast, did right by a lot of characters, didn't do wrong by too many, cut off Quan Chi's fucking head and made Scorpion interesting, and had him have tea with Sub-Zero. I could have used a couple more. I could have used a couple more stage backgrounds.
Yeah, I
That's my only
agree with
real
that
complaint.
for sure. I
Yeah,
would have
yeah,
liked
my
at least
audience is
4
the
more
one
stages.
thing, like-
Yeah.
That's my only real complaint. And they keep on pumping out new stuff and patches and hidden stuff and stage fatalities every now and then.
There are
But I
so
can't be-
many brutalities.
I can't be too angry. So I give this 4.5 exploding cyborgs out of 5.
Well, thanks for killing me off.
Was
there.
there on the right?
You never know. Barney.
Quack, quack, quack.
Meep, meep.
That sounded like a
Duck
truck
territory
backing up.
here.
The duck truck.
Yeah, no, I would go out on a limb and even say every returning character, they've never looked better from a gameplay to look standpoint. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably overthinking one person or two that might not have had the best showing, but I feel like
Reptile, maybe.
I might be in the minority on this, but I miss Melina's more slutty costumes. Like, I think everybody else looks great. Just Melina, I want the swimsuit back.
Yeah, I really, I dig the way she looks in here. I like the pants.
No, Melina's wearing pants, but she still looks sexy. She's got the leather gear.
Like,
She looks.
It's fine for a primary. She doesn't have any alts that are the bikini.
The skirt one though is pretty cool. I like the skirt one.
It's kind of generic to me.
I think the entire conversation of who should be MK's sex symbol and whether it needs one should be left for another time. Hell, we could probably have another cast about that alone. Maybe it should be our next topic.
I don't like the way you finished that word, but
Topic.
topic. Conformist. Conformist. That's what it sounds like.
Sandwiches.
Questionable motive.
But no, it was a good game. I definitely think it was a solid entry. I think it'll go down as one of the best in the series in the long run once, nostalgia kicks in and we're looking back on it, 8 years from now. I think it'll definitely stand up amongst the best in terms of gameplay. And just the way, like I said, the gameplay of the characters and the looks of the characters have been really fantastic.
I have objectively a very hard time not calling this the best Mortal Kombat to ever exist. Nothing will, for me, ever take the place of MK2 and Ultimate MK3 as my absolute favorite games out there, just because they're so ingrained as a part of my childhood and my adolescence. But can I look at this game and really say MK2 or UMK3 is a better game than this? I can't do that.
No,
I think this actually might be, objectively speaking, the best MK game that has ever been. Yes, characters and all.
I think you could say,
and it has Tremor. How the fuck are those two things possible together?
I don't know if that's a plus, but I mean, the rest of it I agree with there, yeah.
I think he's just stating his amazement that the best game is one that has Tremor in it.
That's all there is to it.
That's true.
I don't... How?
It's just solid gameplay. They're definitely... I think they're doing great strides. I think they started with MK vs. DC to kind of right the ship into the gameplay front. And then they made a huge... that was just like a step in the right direction. Then MK9 was a leap in the right direction. And then MKX was, even more so. It's just they've definitely outdone themselves in terms of getting gameplay a lot more into shape of what it should be. The character models have taken a great turn. Girls actually look like girls. The monsters actually look like monsters. You don't have everybody with the same damn model and height and stuff like that.
Honestly,
you actually have good variety.
This is the first 3D game from this studio ever where the faces look right.
Yeah, and
there's no man jaw going on.
The statures,
no man
the
jaw. It's
body
awesome.
types. Yeah, it's definitely awesome. And we have things like Ferritor, who's an actual big monster that plays like a big, slow monster, because they kind of learned how to do that in Injustice. And they definitely have taken a lot of steps in the right direction. Each game, I feel like they get a little bit better. Like you said, starting with MK vs. DC, which was just kind of going back to that 2.5D, which was a good step. Now when they went back to 2D with MK9 in terms of a playing field, they've just gotten better and better, I think. So, yeah. I mean, obviously Injustice plays quite differently, so you may not like the gameplay, but it's done a lot of good to help still build further and further into the direction of getting better character models, better gameplay mechanics, tighter gameplay mechanics, smoother gameplay mechanics, just getting it more balanced and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
I like the end game better of Injustice when the gameplay finally evolved and got really sophisticated. With this game, I don't like what high level looks like at this game. I don't like how random it is. I don't like all the 50-50 coin flips.
I agree with that, yeah.
This game has such a good offensive setup, but the actual offense is not interesting to me. And even though this game is so much more balanced than MK9, because of Yomi and Sonic Fox, people are scared to use a non-top tier character, so we're not really seeing it, And even Yomi's like, I mean, the world is like, we gotta use a good character because of Yomi. And Yomi's like, we gotta use a good character because of Sonic Fox. So, even the tournament scene is not terribly interesting to me now.
Well, tournament players always ruin it for everybody.
Sonic Fox is the Brock Lesnar of tournaments. I kind of think that guy is hurting the scene by existing because he's so unbeatable.
Well, we need him to wreck the Street Fighter V scene. We need him to dominate Street Fighter V. Just take down Japan. Like, that's what needs to happen. So the world can share in the misery. That's what has to go down.
Yeah, it would be nice if they knew how it feels.
Well, they're getting there. He got top 8 at the last major he was in. He got top 16, I think, at the first debut major. So, and he's doing it with Fong. He's doing it with fucking Fong. So that's the worst character in the game. You'll never have to.
Okay.
It flies like a bird. Call me in a fucking year when the roster's expanded. Ugh. You know what? Honestly, SF5 made me appreciate MKX so much more. It really did. At least MKX feels like more or less a complete fucking game.
I'm the
sorry.
exact opposite. I am like, why can't Mortal Kombat play like this? Why can't offense work like this in Mortal Kombat X?
Why can't I select arcade mode, Temp? Why? Where is it?
I mean, it's fair. That's fair, but
They still not add that stuff in?
No.
I haven't touched
No,
it
they
since
didn't.
that week I bought it.
There are problems. It's two different design philosophies. Like Street Fighter V is supposed to be like a DLC patches game, like Killer Instinct, except they launch with a lot of less stuff than Killer Instinct launched with. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
at a much more expensive price.
It's 2016. Why am I
Mistakes were
playing a
made.
fighting game with like 12 characters? The answer is to rush it out to meet the tournament schedule. And now Capcom is learning that there is more to their sales base than the people who are clamoring hard for specific
Like I
characters.
said, tournament players ruin it for everybody.
Yes, they do.
I
They
just
should
want
all
to
go
throw out,
play Dive Kick.
the game is so good. I love Dive Kick, by the way. But the game, Street Fighter V is such a good game. Like, I have not meshed this well with a main character in a very long time. Like, I've been using Chun-Li, and I love this character.
Do you know what's going to happen? They're going to put out King of Fighters 14. Have you seen that shit? That game is going to slap Capcom across the face hard.
Well, don't get me wrong.
They are debuting with a roster that like is a little bit bigger than MKX's now. I even think, and they're bringing back so many characters.
It's a lot bigger than X's. Like it's nearing
pretty-
Armageddon size.
It's frightening how many people they're bringing back. They didn't forget about, and they're bringing in these new characters that look absolutely freaking awesome, like the Sandman guy, and Geese Howard's trailer is 25 straight seconds of predictable. I can't say no to that.
I like how they haven't shown Mai yet.
All right,
No, they
folks,
just
we're
showed her
running
today.
out of time.
Yeah.
We will catch you on episode 96. Just
I
playing
have things to say.
The King of Podcast 2016.
about MK. Do you have anything more to say about MKX that you need to say?
No.
Okay, well, let's wrap up.
Germ.
Let's wrap
We
up
liked
the
it.
retrospective.
We actually liked it.
It's amazing how much we liked it.
All right. Well, happy 1 year to MKX, and catch you guys later.
Allow me. Happy birthday! Do 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 do. No. Fight.
Is there a cat in here? Why is there a cat part of this?
That was pathetic.